Welcome back, Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Classics, non-classics, episode number 342, and Doubleshot number 270. Okay. First up is Poe Dameron, Volume 1, Black Squadron. Yeah, this is a continuation from his story from the book Before the Awakening. Yeah, this whole point of this, well, most of the series so far, well, at least in this. Excuse me, takes place before the events of Force Awakens. And pretty much, why is this called Black Squadron? Because, well, yeah, this is a squadron, which is these people on the back. This is the Black Squadron. The main people that Poe trusts. And basically, his job is to do things, and try to stop the First Order best he can. Now, this is well before he meets Finn in Force Awakens. That is good, the fact he hasn't met him yet at this point. The main villain of the series is a guy named Agent Trax. And get this, the guy owns a spaceship formerly owned by Grand Moff Tarkin. Let me introduce you to the Charon Spike, a ship that was actually made its first appearance that I can think of. I don't remember if I don't think it did appear in the original Star Wars original expanded universe. But this ship made its first appearance in the novel Tarkin. And this is what the ship looks like. This ship used to be Tarkin's flagship, but after Tarkin's death, my guess is Trax must have picked up someplace, just kept this as his own personal ship. Now, that ship is referred to as the type of ship it is. It's referred to as a Corvette. I'm thinking it sounds like a Corvette. I thought it was like this One Air type of ship I saw in the movies. No, apparently that ship is a Corvette. This snake ship, and this apparently was Tarkin's personal flagship before he took command of the Death Star. And Trax himself, and he's mentioned this to a stormtrooper, that he used to be a stormtrooper, so he knows what they're dealing with. But he has not been given, at this point, given the goal of looking for Luke Skywalker yet. But the Starkiller base is referenced in here. Captain Phasma's only appearance in this book is via hologram communication. Holocommunication. Yeah, she does appear in here. And like in the movies, she doesn't take off her helmet at all. Kind of like how Boba Fett never did either. But this is still good. It's written by Charles Shaw and the artwork is by Phil Nato. So, good duo. And this is Charles Shaw's second series he's done for the Star Wars line of books from Marvel. And this book is only about 10 issues in, though it did have one small delay recently by one issue, but it's still good. I personally have never found this series to be found a bad issue so far, and when you finish reading this, you feel like you read a complete story arc. So in fact, it's like two different stories in here. But this is still good, 9 out of 10. Okay, next up is an older book. This is XMen Die By Sword. I don't think I reviewed this. This is a crossover between Excalibur and the Exiles. Who are these two groups? Excalibur, in a way, is they're basically the UK's premier superhero team. Kind of like how in the US it's the Avengers, in the UK it's Excalibur. And the Exiles are a group of, well, one person put it as simply a comic version of the show Sliders. Yeah, they go different realities, right, wrong, stuff like that. And heck, one thing I love about this particular trade, it actually has the teams of who's on a particular team. On Excalibur, in this book, it's Captain Britain, Pete Wisdom, Sage, Dazzler, and Nocturna, who is an alternate timeline daughter of Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch. She's a different reality. And the Exiles team is made up of Blink, Sabretooth, Morph, Psylocke, Longshot, and Thunderbird. Now, the main villains of this particular storyline, there are three main villains. You have Merlin, a different Merlin, not the same one from Arthurian myth. There's also a couple old Captain Britain villains. One is Mad Jack. The other one is a creature known as Fury. These three beings are the main antagonists of this particular storyline. Yeah, the story starts off, simply put, it's like after a successful... This is set like right after both series that just ended. So, Not bad idea. Despite the fact this is called X-Men Die By Sword, the X-Men are not involved with this storyline at all. And, oh yeah, it also involves the Captain Britain Corps. Yeah. And now on the cover you can see you see Nocturnal, Psylocke, Captain Britain, Dazzler. As for this blonde-haired woman, I don't know who she is. Yeah, something, I think it's probably, it could be Sartine, but who the heck knows for this? But, yeah, and also, apparently it's revealed in here. I don't really particularly remember the series New Excalibur very much. Apparently Dazzler and Pete Wisdom have become a couple. Yeah, there's that one point where they're having sex, and then all of a sudden, basically, while they're doing that, this is really bizarre. Excalibur's hosting a party, and then basically Brian's like, "Oh man, he's the doorman. He has to go answer the door." And when he opens first time, it's his twin sister he hasn't seen in some time, because at this point in the Marvel, at this point in time, Betsy Braddock was dead. She got killed off in the first issue of the Chris Claremont series Extreme X-Men. She got killed off in issue 2 by a guy called Vargas. Yeah, he killed her off in issue 2, and she got brought back. It's later explained how she got resurrected. It's her other brother, Jamie Braddock Jr. He's the one who had her resurrected. Though in the Uncanny X-Force series, Jamie Braddock died in the Otherworld storyline. Yeah. Yep. This is an awesome storyline to read. But I do recommend reading it after you finish reading Exiles and all 100 issues of Exiles. It may take you a while, but yeah, this series is just basically wrapping up loose ends from it. Blink. Now, what about the other people from the Ultimate Realities? Blink and Sabretooth are from the Age of Apocalypse storyline from the 90s. Morph from some other reality who only shows up in the series. Longshot, he's from the Mojo universe, and he's a creation of Innocenti. Thunderbird, well, he was Nocturnal's lover when she was part of the Exiles. Yep. So pretty much, yeah, they team up, and of course Brian Braddock himself gets stabbed, and then he spends like half the series in a hospital bed. Then he puts on this costume. It's a different version from his classic outfit, but it's a great looking costume. The artwork in here is done by Juan Santa Cruz, who did the Marvel Avengers Fantastic Four series. The series is great. Now, what happened after the series wrapped up? Well, New Excalibur was canceled and replaced with Captain Britain MI13, with Captain Britain and Pete Wisdom going over to that book. Exiles was replaced with New Exiles, which ended after 18 issues. Of course, Psylocke and Sage went over to that book. Psylocke later returned to the 616 universe thanks to the storyline Sisterhood, and she's back with the X-Men. Currently, she's on Magneto's team right now. Sage, meanwhile, stayed with the Exiles even after the book ever launched again, simply as Exiles. And after that book was canceled, she next showed up in Extreme X-Men Volume 2, the Great Pac series, where she appeared in that series for about half the series. Then, after the events of Extreme X-Men Extermination, she never appeared in the Marvel Universe ever again. As far as I know, she has not made an appearance. But what about the others? Nocturnal and Thunderbird definitely went back to Exiles after the storyline wrapped up. And as far as I know, I have not heard anything what happened to them since then. Blink stayed with the Exiles until the final issue of the second volume of Exiles. Sabretooth was with the Exiles for a little bit after that. Then he went back to Age of Apocalypse, where he died. He got killed by the Exterminators. Morph actually was on the team the longest. He stayed with the groups to the very end. Apparently he comes from possession or something. But what happened to Dazzler? Dazzler herself disappeared for a little bit, and then she returned to the X-Men with issue 500 and stuck with them for a little while. Currently, last time I saw her was in the series A-Force. Yeah. But what about the Captain Britain and Pete Wisdom and with MI13? Captain Britain MI13 was a great series. Got canceled 15 issues in one annual. Then after that, Captain Britain was moved over to Secret Avengers, where he was over there for a little over a year. And then after the series ended, the guy didn't do very much. Showed up in an arc for Uncanny X-Force. He hasn't done much over the past several years. As a matter of fact, I don't think I've seen him recently. Dazzler, as far as I can tell, aside from A-Force, she hasn't done very much. Sage hasn't appeared since Extermination, but this has had some consequences after that. But this series is just meant to conclusion to wrap up 2 series. But unlike, let's say, Graduation Day, where the series characters went completely out of character, this one they're written completely in character because written by the awesome Chris Claremont. So Claremont knows what he's doing, and he's written a good chunk of these characters before. So I do have a good idea. Now of the characters who appear in this particular series, the only characters I can say he's responsible for creating is Psylocke herself, Sage, and I think Dazzler. I think he created Dazzler as well. But as for everybody else, he had nothing to do with him at all. Chris Claremont had a hand in her creation, especially since she made her first American appearance, because she, along with her brother, basically made their first appearance in comic books in the Marvel UK books back in the 70s, before they made appearances here. Captain Britain made his first American appearance in Marvel Team 65, while Betsy Braddock, aka Psylocke, made her first American appearance in Mutants and number 5. Yep. Good storyline. Highly recommend it, but I recommend reading it after reading Exiles, all 100 issues, and reading the 24-issue New Excalibur, which came after House of M. House of M is not referenced in here. What happened with the consequences? I don't know if Betsy even knows about House of M or not at that point. But this is still good. 9 out of 10. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will be episode 343, and Doubleshot 271. Okay? Until then, I will see you there.